Hi, what I'm going to be looking about is picking horizons in the Teapot Dome area. During this, I'm going to show you some aspects of actually picking horizons. I'm making a false particular feature called the flat rock horizon. It's not really true. I just picked a bold, very a nice horizon to work with. You'll be working with ones that you have information for. I'm going to go from perspective here. I'm going to go down to advanced geophysics. This will have most of the buttons that we'll use for this activity. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to make available the tool palette here, and I'm going to put it down in this location. This particular selection is for manual interpretation. I will do that just soon. And secondly, a guided auto tracking feature. So we'll be looking at those two as ways to determine horizons. I'm also going to add a thing called players. I'm going to click there. It's going to come down to this point. And this is going to be very convenient for working with these, with doing horizon work, because it allows us to move in very smooth changes from one line to another into this area. So what I'm now going to go up to is the seismic interpretation area here, which has tools. You'll notice here we just have the data from the Teapot Dome. However, we don't have any horizon at this moment. I'm going to go up to this area in the upper part. It's called Insert. I'm going to come down below and I'm going to select a seismic horizon. That's what we want. So I clicked there. You'll notice what I got was a seismic horizon 1, and I can go down, double click that, and I should be able to double click it. It will come up, and I'm going to go to Info, click that. Here's that label, and I'm going to put Flat Rock. Flat rock horizon, and I'm going to move that up, and I'm going to say OK. So now I have a labeled flat rock horizon, and what we're going to do is to go to the, first of all, I do have a 3D window, an interpretation window, and a 2D window, and what I'm going to have is the first thing that I'm going to look at here and to pick will be along a feature that has in the cross line, which is the long line in this particular data set, is 120. It shows up in position down here at this players intersection player. It's a kind of funny name. And I've placed that we're going to work on this section we're seeing as 120, and the increment is going to be 10 at a time, and that will step through the data the way that we're hoping to. So I'm going to move forward. At this point, we have not produced any feature, which is a horizon pick at this point. You'll notice up here the flat rock horizon still has a gap there. As soon as it has picked we've picked something, then we will see that that will be populated. So what I want to do is go up into this tool palette, and I can first show you very quickly what the manual interpretation will do. And in fact, if I were to go for this red surface, you see a little cross sign, I'm going to select it and I'm going to move it, and because it is manual, it will deal wherever it wants to go. So if it comes off and goes to here, it then gets a line, but I can force it to follow exactly what I want, and this is sometimes handy, but I can also go completely off the track in this. I'm going to come over here, and there's an interactive eraser that I'm pointing to the left. I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to go ahead and get that taken out of this, but I sort of have to do them back to right there, and so there's nothing through this from that. I'm now going to go up and use, for this activity, I'm going to talk about the guided auto tracking. So what I'm going to want to do with this is I'm going to want to point to the midpoint of this red seismic horizon, and I'm going to click it once with the left button. You'll notice I get a dot. I come across, hit it approximately in the red again, click again, come across, and at some point I double clicked it on the left side, and I've now put this surface into place. I can go along, and I'm going to bring it down just a little bit, come back up. I'm going to hit that. It looks like there might be a fault here, so I'm coming up to the top. And I can come and move across to pick the light blue and I'll stop there. I'll come back on the other side of this, and here's the little blue part that's there. So I'm going to go ahead. I can make rather long runs with this that can give me a long area, sometimes an entire horizon. I'm going to put it there, and for the moment it's going to work with sometimes hard to get correlations between these endpoints where they may be noisy or rough or faults. Well, now at this point we have the yellow, which corresponds where this particular horizon was working, but up here we have flat rock horizon, and we need to click that to say that it's there. You now see a red line going north and south here that goes through this data set, and what I'd like to do is I've now picked it along the 120 position. I want to hit it up here with this step plane forward, and it goes 10, and notice that it's now moved over. The one we just picked was in red. So what I'm going to be doing then is to try to come back here. We'll notice when I made the area, the yellow line moved over 10 cross line steps here as it goes across. And notice that we're going to be looking at the parallel line, and so now we'll go ahead and apply this horizon line, and I'll do that here. And so we're now on the 130 cross line, and we can go to here. And I have the plus sign in this case, so I'm going to pick this along. And I'll put that into place. Some of them give you a small areas that it may not identify automatically, and these might be things that we could put in manually to fill in some of those gaps. It's also a better idea than I'm doing to use to zoom it in somewhat so that you can see what's there. Okay, we now have two of these features. I'm going to go over to the 2D window. You now have a second north-south of these red lines that we have covered with picking this. Now I'm going to go about looking and moving it in an east-west direction. So I'm going to come up here, and on the cross line, I'm going to be coming over to the interpretation window, and I'm going to go to the inline here. And notice something popped up. You have the two light blue dots here. Those are now running perpendicular to the two that you just had. So this gives us a base for making horizons. So I'm essentially going to do the same thing again. I'm going to go ahead and pick along this flat rock feature. I'm going to go right straight through these features. Okay, this is a little bit of a shorter length. I'm not sure I can do it at this. It's always better sometimes to zoom in and you can get a good fill on that. Okay, so now we'll again I'll go to the 2D. Notice that the red line that is under the yellow line corresponds to our east-west section. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to again, in this case, this player's intersection player, I'm now going to ask this to make a step over. Again, we have a pair of these that cross. We can look here. You can see I've got the red here, and there'll be a red under the yellow in a moment. And so I'm going to come back here. And again, I can sometimes just reference things from where there are these cross points and make sure that we put it together. So I'm going to come on here. And one can get fairly quickly doing this. Okay, come back and get a little bit of it here. And some at the other end. At least to there. Okay, now if I come to 2D, you'll see that it would be located there. So I have now put together two of these, and at this point I'm going to make a jump to putting this so that it will have this grid of the red lines over the whole area as it's asked.